All right, so ever wonder how those streaming giants like Disney figure out what shows to create?
Yeah, like they've got some secret formula for a guaranteed hit.
Right. Well, today we're going to take a deep dive into that. We're looking at this variety interview with Craig Erwich, top dog over at Disney Television Group.
This is the guy overseeing everything from like ABC and Freeform to Disney and Hulu, right?
You got it. He's got his finger on the pulse of, well, pretty much everything Disney puts out there. And one thing that really stood out,
What's that?
he sees this whole massive content empire as one giant potluck dinner.
A potluck. Okay, now I'm really curious. How does that even work?
I know, right? But it kind of makes sense when you think about it.
Go on.
You're not going to serve just one type of dish at a potluck, are you?
True. You got to have options for everyone.
Exactly. And Disney's approaching its platforms the same way. ABC. That's your classic comfort food, familiar, reliable. But then you're craving something a little more, shall we say, edgy.
Hulu's got you covered.
Bingo. Handmaid's Tale. Anyone.
Exactly.
And then there's Disney catering to families, die-hard fans. You know the drill.
So it's all about variety, making sure there's something for everyone.
Exactly. It's about creating a diverse menu across all their platforms to keep everyone happy.
Which makes a lot of sense from a business standpoint,
Yeah.
especially with so much competition in the streaming world.
Couldn't agree more. It's not just about throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. It's a calculated strategy.
Right. It's about hedging their bets in a market that's constantly changing. Although it does make you wonder,
Under what?
can they really maintain a strong brand identity across so many different platforms?
Hmm?
Or will they just become like the everything store with no clear direction?
That's a great point. And it's something Erwich touches on when he talks about using their traditional TV channels, particularly ABC, to actually boost their streaming services.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more about that.
Well, he basically says they see these linear networks, the ones you watch on a schedule, as a springboard.
A springboard, like a launching pad.
Exactly. They
Huh.
get people hooked on a show through the broad appeal of network TV, and then they funnel those viewers right into their streaming world.
Clever. Do they have any examples of that working?
Are you kidding? Abbott Elementary, huge hit on ABC, and guess what?
It blew up on Hulu too.
Nailed it. Same
Yeah.
thing with Will Trent.
So it's this brilliant 1-2 punch. They're not treating streaming and traditional TV as separate entities. It's all part of a bigger interconnected strategy.
And that's what makes their approach so fascinating. And it's not just about traditional TV and streaming, it's about recognizing how viewing habits are evolving, especially for younger audiences. Erwich really stresses that you can't just rely on the same old playbook.
It makes sense. It's
Yeah.
like they've really cracked the code with YouTube, recognizing that it's not just a place for, viral videos and stuff. It's a direct line to Gen Z.
Totally. And Disney's not just dipping their toes in the water either. Erwich was practically bragging about the Disney Channel having one of the biggest YouTube channels out there.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Just goes to show that they get it, meeting audiences where they are, creating content specifically for that platform. It's all about staying relevant.
And it all circles back to this idea of the Disney spotlight. When they've got a project they believe in, they go all out.
Oh, absolutely. It's this incredible synergy across their whole empire.
Yeah.
Theme parks, ESPN, Good
Yeah.
Morning America, you name it. If Disney wants to get the word out, they will find a way.
For sure. Erwich even used the examples of Shogun, The Golden Bachelor, even the Oscars.
Oh, yeah, The Golden Bachelor. That one really seemed to capture the zeitgeist. It wasn't just another dating show. It was like a cultural moment.
Right. It resonated with everyone. Prove that there's a real hunger for these stories that challenge expectations.
Totally.
And speaking of challenging expectations, let's talk about their strategy for Hulu for a sec. They're kind of taking a similar approach with comedy, going all in on stand-up specials.
Yeah, they're calling it their Hilarious Initiative.
Yeah.
The goal is to make Hulu the destination for stand-up fans.
Which is brilliant. When I think about what I want from Hulu, it's that mix of comfort and discovery, something familiar, but also something new and exciting.
Totally.
And stand-up comedy fits that perfectly.
They're not just going after any comedians, though. Erwich emphasized that they're looking for the best of the best.
Right, he even name drops some heavy hitters, Jim Gaffigan, Bill Burr.
It's about curating those specials to be events in their own right.
Which is so smart,
Yeah.
because with so much content out there, you need something truly special to cut through the noise.
It's like Erich said, they're creating appointment viewing for stand-up comedy.
Love that. Okay, but before we get too sidetracked by laughter, we have to talk about Erwich's comments on scripted procedurals. Even with the rise of streaming, these shows are still going strong.
He called them deceptively simple, and I think that's a great way to put it.
How so?
Well, on the surface, they follow a formula, right? But within that structure, there's a surprising amount of depth. You can explore real-world issues, create compelling characters, deliver those satisfying twists and turns.
And let's not forget the comfort factor. People crave that sense of familiarity, especially during uncertain times.
Exactly. Erwich pointed to Grey's Anatomy as a prime example.
It's practically an institution at this point.
Right.
And then there's their acquisition of 911 from Fox.
Yeah.
Huge get for them.
Absolutely. It shows they're not afraid to invest in proven winners, even as they're experimenting with new formats and genres.
And speaking of 911, Erwich talked about how they're using that show to bring back the TV event. Remember when everyone would gather around the water cooler to discuss the latest episode of their favorite show?
Ah, the good old days.
Right. And while things are obviously different now with streaming and social media, Erwich seems to think there's still a way to create those shared viewing experiences.
And 911 is perfect for that. It's already a high-stakes, edge-of-your-seat kind of show.
Yeah.
But then kicking off the season with a huge, multi-episode disaster storyline, that's how you get people talking.
It's event television at its finest.
Exactly.
And it takes a certain level of confidence to pull that off. And you know what? Disney have confidence in spades. They've been at the top of the entertainment game for decades. And from this interview, it doesn't seem like they have any plans of slowing down anytime soon.
Not even a little bit.
But let's take a step back for a second. What are your big takeaways from all of this? What does Disney's approach to content tell us about the future of entertainment?
What really strikes me is their agility. They're not afraid to adapt and evolve. They're honoring their legacy, but they're also not afraid to try new things.
It's all about finding that balance, right?
Exactly. And they're doing it with a deep understanding of their audience, which is key in this business.
It's about giving people what they want, sometimes even before they know they want it.
Precisely. And that brings me to a final thought. Something for you to ponder as you navigate this ever-changing world of entertainment.
Okay, hit me with it. What's the big question?
So we're talking about streaming platforms multiplying, right? The entertainment landscape is only getting more and more crowded. So in that kind of environment, will this potluck dinner approach still be enough?
You've got me thinking now.
Or will audiences start to crave something more curated, something more specialized, like a 5-star tasting menu?
Oh, I like where you're going with this. It's like the difference between hitting the all-you-can-eat buffet and going to that Michelin-starred restaurant.
Exactly.
Do you want a little bit of everything, or do you want something truly unique and tailored just for you?
It's a tough call. On the one hand, the potluck approach is all about variety and broad appeal. But as audiences get more discerning, they might start seeking out those niche experiences.
Experiences that feel more personal. So maybe we're headed towards a future of hyper-specialized streaming services. One for true crime documentaries, one for classic sitcoms, one for indie films, and so on.
It's entirely possible. There's something to be said for simplicity and a clear brand identity.
Especially in a world where we're constantly bombarded with choices.
Exactly.
Well, no matter what the future holds for streaming, it's been amazing to dissect Disney's strategy. They've always been masters at adapting and evolving with the times.
Absolutely.
And from what we've seen, they're not letting up anytime soon. It's like they're that friend who always brings the most interesting dish to the potluck. Something unexpected, but always delicious.
I like that analogy.
It's been a pleasure unpacking all of this with you today. And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has given you a glimpse into the strategic minds at Disney. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep asking those thought-provoking questions.